Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Int Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hey, this is episode 75, Pace Yourself, Finding Joy and Resilience in Every Mile. And I'm so excited to have a very special guest today, Jay Ell Alexander, who is the owner and CEO of Black Girls Run. Thank you so much for being here today, Jay Ell.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about the conversation.
Woohoo! So tell us who you are. We'll get into BGR, Black Girls Run, later, but who are you?
Well, I am a wife, been a wife for about 11 years now, been a mom for about the last 5 years of a beautiful 5-year-old little boy, as well as a 2.5-year-old little girl. So that is the bulk of my life, running behind those two. But I'm a serial entrepreneur, just a lover of just everything Black women and empowerment and wellness. I'm a traveler. I'm an avid shopper. All the things. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
That is awesome. And we actually had the chance to meet when I was doing my BGR run in Brookhaven a few years ago. I think it was pre-COVID. And you happened to choose our run, huh?
It's been a long time since we've seen each other.
Exactly. So I think that was between your two kids because you had gotten pregnant after that.
Yeah, it probably was. Well, my son was born in 2019. So it might have been in between there.
Yeah. Awesome. Black Girls Run seriously means a lot to me. I found BGR back in 2014, right before I ran my first full marathon. And really, my first full marathon was the first race I even signed up for. I signed up for that. And then in the process of training, I signed up for a half marathon before I ran. And the camaraderie, all of that. And of course, we're going to get into the mental health of running. But tell us how you started Black Girls Run.
Well, I came on board with Black Girls Run when the organization was first getting started launching groups across the country. I came on board as a volunteer right out of grad school. I was looking for some hands-on work. I had just met my now husband, had put on some good, happy dating weight, and was like, I need to start running. So a colleague introduced me to Black Girls Run. They were looking for some support. And so I came on board as their PR director in 2012.
Gotcha.
And literally just learned the business, became the right hand of the organization, just managing events, media, working with our local groups across the country, all the things, just learning the business inside and out. And so fast forward a few years, I started the group here where I live in Richmond, Virginia, ambassador here, continuing to still volunteer with the organization nationally, had came on board as a contractor a few years later and just fell in love with the organization. And my running journey has ebbed and flowed over the years as well. My weight loss has ebbed and flowed over the years as well. And so ran some halves, ran some marathons, all the things. And then in 2017 was presented with the opportunity to buy the company.
Gotcha.
And here we are almost 7 years later. We now have a foundation. The organization is in this brand new chapter where we are just growing exponentially. The engagement is super high right now. So that's kind of been my journey like over the last 12 years.
Wow, that's exciting. Well, you're literally the face of it because to me, you found the whole thing, as you can see. Well, that is fantastic.
I'll take that. It's been a joy being a part of the organization.
Right, exactly. And it's spread throughout the whole country. Do we have groups outside of the country?
We do not have groups. There's
Okay.
some informal groups. We have some women over in Okinawa, Japan that used to be here, actually here in Richmond, Virginia, where I live, and now they're stationed abroad. So folks that have some dotted lines, if you will, to Black Girls Run, but we haven't officially made them a part of the organization yet.
Right. That's all right. Well, you look great. And you mentioned a few marathons. You just ran ran your third in New York City,
Well,
right?
I did just run my third marathon. I did New York Marathon in early November, and then 2 weeks later did the Every Woman's Marathon down in Savannah. So did my second and third within 2 weeks.
Wow. And when was your first?
Um, I did amazing. New York was absolutely amazing. A very tough course. And then 2 weeks later, I actually did a 30-minute PR. Yeah, I'm feeling I have not been just this confident about the skin I'm in or
Mhm.
feeling this good probably since like high school, college. To say I'm taking advantage of where I am right now in this space is probably the best way to put it.
That is fantastic. And when did you do your first one? If those were your second
First
and third?
one was in 2014.
Oh,
So
when I did my first,
yeah,
basically.
pre-kids, pre-marriage, all the things. I was probably at my then heaviest weight, like around 240.
Mhm.
And it was a rough marathon. And then when I did it in Chicago last year, I shaved off like 45 minutes from my first PR. And then
Wow.
this year, ran New York a minute slower than Chicago, but
Uh-huh.
I don't count that a minute slower because New York is so much tougher
It
uh,
is.
than Chicago. And then, like I said, 30 minutes, 2 weeks later, shaved off 30 minutes in Savannah, Georgia. So, yes, I'm back in love with running. You
Yay.
fall in and out of love with running, and we're back in good graces now.
That's absolutely fantastic. And New York was hard because it rained when I did it. It was in 2017. And also the part about New York I don't like is that you start out your morning at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Actually start the run at 11 a.m.
Yep.
And for me, I ended the race. It was dark outside.
Yeah, that was my goal because it was this year the weather was perfect, but
Mhm.
we still, it's all about the experience, making it over to Staten Island and all the things.
Mhm.
But this year it was daylight savings time on the
Yeah.
same day. So it was my goal. I was like, I have to make it back in the daytime so my
Yeah.
kids can actually see me
Yeah.
at the finish line. So I actually made it to Central Park before the sun came down. So it was a good race.
Yeah, I saw your video. It was definitely daylight for you. That's great.
Yeah, so definitely enjoy like I said, back in love with running right now. We'll see how long it lasts.
All right, you said back in love with running, so that's our segue. Tell me more about that. What made you
Well,
fall out of love?
it's just like our journey with just life and with health and wellness and all the things. Things get difficult. Life happens. And so sometimes wanting to train for a run or having that obligation kind of hanging over your head, I got to get in the long run. It just doesn't become as enjoyable anymore. It really
Yeah,
takes a lot of willpower, a lot of consistency, especially training for a marathon. You have to carve out a lot of time. And so
yeah,
I'm loving this in between time during the holidays right now where I can just go run if I want to go for 30 minutes or if I choose to go for an hour. I can choose based upon what I'm feeling and not what's on my
yeah.
training calendar. It's just like life. It has its challenges and it ebbs and flows. And so when it gets really challenging, I'm like, why am I doing this to
That's
myself?
what I'm about to say.
But
Why do we do that? We pay the money,
I don't know.
train hard.
There's no right answer to that, why we do this to ourselves. Like I said, the peer pressure from Black Girls Run, the community, just wanting to always challenge ourselves and do something else, I think is why we just keep on signing up for these races.
And I think it's good pressure. I mean, when I was a run lead, they used to call me a run bully, but in a good way. I was a positive bully. I helped push people for the good and they were happy.
Right, I
So
get
I
it.
think it's that good pressure that we like about
It
running
is.
and run
It
club.
is. It is. I tell folks, I was like, once you join BGR and you sign up for these races, like you have to sip BGR through a straw because these ladies will have you across the country, traveling on vacations, all centered around running and
Mhm.
fitness. And before you know it, those things really do add up. So I was like, sip BGR through a straw because we will throw it at you. And if you take it, we're gonna keep throwing it at you. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and it literally builds resilience. I mean, especially when I was trying to get a 2-hour half, that was just like, it was hard. It was work. It made running not so fun. But then, you push yourself and then you get it and then you're excited. And then you fall back in love when you don't have to worry about, like, I got to do this. I got to get this speed. I got to do that. So there's
Right.
a nice balance between the
It
two.
it is, absolutely. The resiliency is, I think that goes without just saying, like, running is challenging by itself, whether you're running your first mile or
Hmm.
whether you're running 26 miles, like,
Hmm.
either way you look at it, wherever you are in your journey, just trying to do something or build a new goal
Hmm.
makes you so much better. That challenge builds your resiliency. So I think, we become, even though we say, why do we do this to ourselves? On the other end, we are making ourselves just better people overall.
Yeah, and it builds your physical resilience and your mental resilience. Because it wasn't even my last half; it was the half before that. Because I'm trying to run 100 halves, so I'm running a lot of half. The ambassador in Cincinnati, she ran 100 last year, and now she's over that. So
That's
she motivated me. She
that's
my
my
run bully.
that's my girl Erica. And you just saw the girl, the woman up in Philadelphia. She's from South Jersey, but she ran the Philadelphia half. She just hit 100 last weekend as well. So
See, if they can do it, I can do it.
right. Not to add any pressure to you at all.
This is the kind of healthy motivation that we have. But like the 2 races ago, and I wasn't even trying to run a 2 hour, but I found myself running for 10 miles with the 2 hour pacers. And I'm like, whoa. And then that made me just feel like I got to let me get to the next mile. Let me get to the next mile. And I consistently told myself, you don't have to stop. You don't need to stop. You just want to stop. And I'm like, oh, okay. So these are things that we tell ourselves mentally to get ourselves to the run, but we can also apply that to life too. Do you have any types of life stories where you've applied those kinds of pace yourself techniques?
I think, I mean, I always, I still consider myself a fairly new behind the ears mother. And my running journey and my motherhood journey definitely is very parallel with each other. And it's just, especially early on, where we have to give up that selfishness. And now we have to think about more than
Yeah.
ourselves. And it's that resiliency just to take it a day at a time. Um,
Hmm.
you don't have to think about what's happening next week. Don't think about what's happening next month. Runners, we're always type A. Moms, we love to be planners and be in control
Hmm.
of things. And early on, I had to release that control. And I think it's the same thing with running and building that mental and physical resiliency. It's like today may just be a 3-mile run, and that's okay. But today is just, let me just get outside and walk and, get some fresh air.
Hmm.
Being present of where you are right now, I think that builds your resiliency, just builds the grace that you have for yourself as well, wherever you are in the journey. And a lot of that, I equate a lot of what I learned with running with what I've learned with motherhood as well. Just having that patience, giving myself that grace,
Yes.
and just knowing, every stage, every age has its own challenges, but you just have to take it a day at a time. And I think, that's what we can do within our health and fitness space as well.
That's so true. We can really beat ourselves up as moms and as wives. In fact, last week's episode was about getting rid of that guilt and turning into gratitude when it comes to the mom guilt and the wife guilt, because it's okay for us to take time for ourselves. And it's okay for us to not be perfect in our marriage and perfect as moms, because these kids, they're hard. And sometimes we got to get away so we can go run and then come back and be the best mom we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, and then at times I was taking them running with me, and even during the pregnancies, trying to keep up with it, pushing the stroller or pushing my belly, whatever it was that I was pushing. And for me, I had a little bit of break of running because after my first child, he's 4 now, I had hip pain and I thought I was never gonna run again. It
Mhm.
was like a really sad time for me because I'm just like, oh my goodness, I need running. It's my therapy, it's my medication. Of course, I gradually got there and then just after a year, I was just like, I'm just gonna sign up for the public half. And I did, and I trained and I got it, and I'm back. So it sometimes our physical bodies can, make us feel like we can't do it, but with trying and exercise, we can get back there.
Absolutely. It comes back. It just takes some time. But I mean, you have to realize when you become a mom and go through that journey, your entire body has changed. Your I mean, everything has changed. Not even just physically, but hormonally and mentally. It's a huge change. And I think that's what I wasn't prepared for. Like, oh, I'm gonna bounce back. We're gonna be out here running these halves with this.
Right.
No, my child didn't want to sit in a stroller. Like, what? I did one.
No.
My son never did a race with me. My daughter only did one half marathon with me. I bought all the things. No, my kids weren't running races with me. And I was like, wait, hold on. You guys can't take this from me. I had this whole idea
Oh, no.
that we were gonna do races. And from then on, I was like, well, back to just running by myself, which I had no problem with either. But
Right, as long as somebody can watch the kids.
idea that I was gonna be out here running with my kids, and that just absolutely
It never happened, huh?
did not happen at all. And so I think, we just, again, I always have to give myself grace and patience. Like, I have a running list of things to do, but I'm just like, Jay, you just got 24 hours in a day. Half of that is dedicated to the kids. And then the other half is dedicated to sleep. And you need both of those. So you just got to figure out what can be balanced or what can
Yes.
just exist, smoothly as possible. And like you said, just get rid of that guilt altogether.
Exactly. So you mentioned sometimes we need sleep, sometimes we need running. How do you choose between the two? Because it'll be 10 p.m., kids asleep, and I'm tired, but I get on the treadmill because I feel like I need that.
Oh, no. My run will be skipped real quick. I need my rest. I absolutely meant that. I've learned that early on. If I do not have my rest,
Yeah,
nothing else will operate 100%, and that includes running. So, and you got to give your body to recover from a run as
that's
well,
true.
and you just
Mhm.
feel so much better after getting a good night's sleep. So no, my rest comes first. Now my problem is going to bed when I'm supposed to and not on the phone or not trying to
Gotcha.
catch up on a TV show that I can't watch with my kids.
That's the self-care you need in Netflix.
I
You fall
know,
asleep
but
on
I
Netflix.
need to shut my eyes and go to sleep. So that's a whole different challenge by itself. But rest trumps it all.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. It's a matter of knowing like when that is. Because I know there are definitely times where I need to skip that run and get to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all depends. Now, if someone's listening, because I'm sure there's people listening who either are already running or want to walk or get started and try to figure out running. You mentioned weight loss journey. I definitely lost weight multiple times. I've gone up and down multiple times. I've lost 30 pounds from running. Then I gained, I think I went up. I'm 180 now. No, I'm 160 now, but I went up to 237 when my first pregnancy. So I went down and I went back up. So anyway, a lot of fluctuations, but running has helped each time and dieting. But anyhow, if someone wanted to use running for their weight loss, what kinds of tips would you give them to get started?
Well, I mean, first, I would say you have to figure out what's your intention with becoming a runner. Weight loss it comes with it, but it's a balance of everything. So it's also the eating, it's also consistency with running as well. When you're starting to run long distance, like a marathon, weight loss and marathon training don't go hand in hand because you have to eat. Um,
Yeah.
actually eating while you're running. So
Yes.
figure out what your intentions are. Now, if you're registering for or signing up for a 5K or a 10K, that would kind of be like a happy medium with like getting in shape, losing weight, and all the things. I got up to over 300 pounds with my son, got down to 180, lost over 100 pounds with him, went back up to 260 with my daughter. Now I'm back down to 185. So
Woo-hoo.
my weight has gone up and down over the last
Mhm.
5 years. As you can see, like I'm like, I can't get rid of all these clothes because I was a big girl for so long.
Right.
Spend good money on these clothes. So we gonna still wear them.
You'll still wear them. You look fantastic though.
Still wear them until I like look completely crazy. But yeah, just figure out what your intention is. And understandably, health and fitness is a journey. Like it's not just a point A to point B. There are hills, valleys, and everything in between because again, you fall in and out of love with running, but also, life happens and just running is not a priority anymore as well. So understandably, you can always get back on the bandwagon for running and health and fitness, but knowing that this is a lifestyle, not just, oh, I want to lose weight or whatever that goal is for right now. But knowing that, hey, we need to adopt something that is long term. So it doesn't always feel like, oh, I'm getting back on the
Long
bandwagon.
term.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
make it a lifestyle, then you can actually incorporate it whenever you do kind of fall off and, have to get back on the bandwagon. That is not so much of a, not so much of a hard task to do.
Yeah, and what you said about marathon training, I gained 10 pounds in my first marathon because I'm just like, I just ran 18 miles. Of course, I'm gonna eat a whole pizza or
You
5
need
pancakes.
you needed all those 10 pounds to get through that marathon.
Exactly. I mean, I did learn that, maybe not the whole pizza, but maybe a few slices. I
Absolutely.
think I was overeating, so it's a
Yeah.
delicate balance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely a delicate balance. Like you definitely you have to choose the right things to eat.
Uh-huh.
Not like you're gaining weight just excessively. You're gaining weight so you can prepare your body to run this long distance to train for potentially 6 months. I think got on the scale this morning and I'm like, oh, I'm actually back to what the weight I was before I ran New York.
Mm.
New York and Savannah, Georgia, I literally probably put on about 10 pounds over the last month. And I was like, okay, let me get these 10 pounds off now that we're back to just normal running. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
again, going back to like, we have all these reoccurring things that grace, like, hey, we are marathon training right now, whatever you're training for. But yeah, you learning to eat right, eat the right things, that's part of the process as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about what's eating the right things. Because for me, I've changed. In the beginning, I used to have a bowl of oatmeal, maybe throw some peanut butter in it before doing a long run, or
Okay.
I would be just fine eating a full breakfast and a half hour later run. But my husband, he would never eat before a run. And now recently, within the last year, I've tried it his way, and I don't eat before running at all, but I do energy gels during a run. So what do you do, and what do you usually suggest?
It depends on how long I'm running for. Anything under an hour, I don't eat either. What has helped with my weight loss has been my fasting. So
Yeah.
I try to eat before the kids get home, because I am definitely a snacker and I'll nibble off of like I hate Chick-fil-A now because my kids eat it so much. Before I know it, I'll sit there and eat 6 nuggets, and I'm just like,
So
why
good.
do this to myself?
So yummy.
I have to eat before the kids get home. So I'm fasting from about 6 p.m. if I'm doing a short run most days, all the way up until about 10 a.m. the next morning. So
Oh,
my
nice.
period has really helped me to kind of
Yeah.
progress my weight loss. Now, for a long run, or if I'm lifting heavy at the gym, I do have a heavier meal, some type of carbs.
Mm.
My body likes just a simple kind of rice and grilled chicken. Um,
Mhm.
I don't do well with pastas. So just kind of something simple like that. Or while I'm running, I don't do gels too often. I need like salts and sweets. So
Okay.
I'll do pretzels.
Oh.
I do the old school peach rings. Let's see what else. I'm good for pickle juice. I love pickle juice on a run.
Ah, helps the
So
cramping.
I have to eat like real food if that makes a difference because it's too much.
Oranges? What about oranges?
I don't do oranges. I don't do a lot of fruit.
I love oranges.
Yeah, I do strawberries, but I don't do on a run. I have to eat like actual, like substantial food. Like I like tasty food, so I'm eating
What?
like Parmesan and garlic pretzels. Like I said, I have the peach rings. In the morning, I'll do like a croissant, add like honey butter or almond butter to the croissant. So that's usually my go-to that I know will sit well on my stomach. That's the big thing for me as well, knowing that what will sit well.
A garlic pretzel would sit well?
They're so savory. They're so good. I love pretzels on a run because you get that
You need the
sugar,
salt.
you get that sweet, that saltiness as well as that savoriness with it. I had a whole Ziploc bag of them for New York, and they
Oh,
were
that's dope. That's really cool. I turned to oranges. In my last run, they had frozen oranges at the end of the run. It was like popsicles. It was amazing.
I'm sure. Yeah, anything after a long run sometimes tastes 10 times better.
Yeah. Now, have you done Flying Pig? Because you're savory. They give out bacon.
I did. I did the 10K Flying Pig. I was pregnant with my son, so it must have been 2019 when I did Flying Pig. I did not do the half there. I only did. Or
Right.
did I do the half? No, I think I did just the 10K.
So you probably didn't get the bacon because it's the half or the full, you get the bacon.
I did
Half
not
and half.
get the bacon, so it had to be the 10K.
So
That was
speaking of
well.
yeah, so speaking of all this, carb loading. Because you mentioned you don't like pasta, you do chicken rice. Is carb loading a myth? Do we really have to eat a plate of pasta the night before a race?
You have to eat something. Well, it's not even the night before. The big thing is you gotta have to build up. So like if your marathon is that Saturday, almost carb loading starting that Wednesday and increasing each day. So you're not just trying to do this one pile of pizza, or pizza or pasta the night before. You're actually doing it all week to build up, just like hydration, to build your body up for that race.
Mhm.
But again, I do like baked potato, rice, bread. I'm not a big person on pasta just because it makes me feel a little too heavy.
Heavy.
But the other things they really do, they work just as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know because sometimes people like force themselves to eat pasta when they don't even like pasta, but you really don't have to. Even a protein
Sometimes
smoothie.
I think about my first marathon, I was the same way, but you kind of learn what works for you as you
Mhm.
more of a veteran runner.
Everybody's different. You learn what works for you. And when hearing you say veteran runner makes me think of weather because we run in all different kinds of weather. I've run in 100 degrees and I've also run in 7 degrees. Now, as far as the variety of weather, what are your thoughts on how to layer up for people who don't know about that?
That's just it. You have to dress for 10 to 15 degrees warmer because your body is going to warm up. If you're in
Ah,
me by mile one, I didn't strip down to the closest layer to my body because I just warm up really fast. But layers, that's the biggest thing for running. And then also wearing material that will not absorb, especially when it's cold, will not absorb the
sweat.
moisture, the sweat
Oh,
will freeze. It will make your
oh,
body
that's good.
colder. So, they say cotton is rotten. That's absolutely so much truth to that. And that's
Mm,
for socks, making sure that you're wearing some type of material within a tech tee that is moisture resistant or moisture wicking. That's another as well. So that's the biggest thing, just dressing in layers. Even on race day, having gloves or a shirt over top, something that you can just throw away on the side once you've warmed up as well. Wearing layers, especially in this cold weather as we head into the winter season, is just crucial. Like you said, I've run in hot weather, and I've run the coldest I've done is 17 degrees.
nice.
That was my first marathon, and I came home with
Gosh, I did a marathon.
frostbite on and it was freezing rain. My first marathon, it was rough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that was a very hard, it was brutally cold, and I will never do that again. So it's hard for me to get out in the cold right now. I'm on a treadmill every morning.
Yeah, yeah, it gets hard in the beginning because I have to remember that I've once told myself that 35 degrees is the perfect running weather. And I'm like, why do I say that? But then once I get out there, I'm like, oh, like for some
35
reason.
is good. 35 is good. 35,
Right, 17 is over.
yeah, that's my threshold. But as we start getting below 30, no, save that for some. I'm not built for it.
Yeah, and it's just now getting down in the 20s in Georgia. And I'm
Same
just like,
here.
that
Same here in
treadmill.
Virginia. Absolutely. It's the 20s in the morning. And I was like, yeah, we're going to hop right on this treadmill this morning.
Yeah, at least you have a treadmill. You love and need running that much. You're gonna make sure you have a treadmill.
Yeah, we got by any means possible.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the runner's high. Everyone talks about that. And there's some scientific evidence for that. We've got endorphins, we got the endocannabinoids in our head. Cannabinoids makes you think of cannabis. We have those in our head,
Yeah.
and they are activated when we're running. So it kind of makes sense neurobiologically. Now, do you get the runner's high? What does it do for you? What are your mental health benefits of running?
I haven't gotten a runner's high in a long time. I get it for a short period of time, maybe a couple of hours after
Ooh,
I have finished a race. And I'm like, oh,
ooh,
especially if it was a good
yeah.
run, especially if I PR'd. So like in Savannah,
Mhm.
I remember sitting in a hotel room with my cousin. I was like, girl, we did that. And we were looking up races. All right, well, when can we run this half marathon? And then both of us look at each other like, girl, you got 3 kids. I got 2 kids. let's slow this thing down. Let's slow this thing down. We talking about registering for this race. And I was like, baby boy basketball season about to start. I can't do it this weekend. I was like, all right, that runner's high has come down.
That's the thing, the
Real
time.
fast when you get that reality check of
Exactly.
yeah, if you got kids and we headed into basketball season. So, I get that
Uh-huh.
running high for a small minute, and then I come off of that high, especially this stage of where I am in my life, where I just can't register or just jet off for the weekend to go run a half marathon. I gotta check in with everybody else's schedule first. So, it's been a long time since I had a runner's high. Now I think I just feel good.
Yeah.
My body feels good. I feel good working
Yeah.
out. I wanna work out. I wanna
Mhm.
run, and I think I think I like this more than just having just a runner's high.
Yeah, and someone asked me that, when would you get the runner's high? Is it a long run? Is it a short run? And I really recently figured out for myself, it doesn't have to be a long run. 'Cause last week in preparation for Thanksgiving, because I knew I was going to eat a lot, because I do the Peloton. You have Peloton
Yes, yep,
treadmill?
I have the
Yeah.
tr yep.
So I've noticed that when I do a 30-minute run, I never can get in 3 miles, even though it seems like I should be able to. I always get in like 2.5. And that's because I do Alex. So he usually starts out with a warm up and he's walking. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me not start out walking. Let me just hit the ground running on this treadmill. So I was pushing myself harder. Instead of doing his warm ups, I started out running. So I would just run a 6.0 the straight the whole time or a 10-minute mile. And then so I got in pretty much a 5K because at the end I would run really, really fast. And so I noticed that after pushing myself and trying to do like almost a 30-minute 5K, the runner's high kind of came. Like afterwards, I was like, ooh, just like these tingles in my body. So it really also has to do with pushing yourself harder than
Yeah,
usual.
absolutely. Now, it's funny you say that. It's hard it's hard for me to I can do a 30-minute. That's probably, like, my threshold for a class. 45 minutes hard, but, my sweet spot is doing 2 15s. That's kinda my sweet spot on with doing the classes on the tread. It's something about I don't know, that 15 minutes, but then I'm about to restart the 15 minutes, so I try
Mm.
to my second half 15 minutes, I try to run faster or run stronger than my first half.
Oh,
Um,
I love it.
so that's kinda been my sweet spot here lately on the tread, especially since I'm running on the tread so often.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned the timing that it takes to run. Like, oh, am I gonna sign up, girl? These kids, we got these kids, right? Now, does your husband run too? Is there like a give and take of like he lets you go run, you let him go do his thing?
I run much more than him. He just ran his first 8K a few weeks ago.
Mm,
I have him signed up for a quarter marathon to run with me in Columbus in April. Um, he runs just to kind of keep his health going, but he's not for all the races and all the things. He'll just kind of go to the gym, get some cardio in, and that's about
right.
it. Um,
Right.
but, like, signing up for races and getting medals and spending money on that stuff,
That
that
part.
that's just not him at all. So, it is a little give and take. I'm more on the taking side because I do so much more running. He runs as well, but I get mine in the morning, and he gets his in the evening.
Ah, nice. When you have a spouse or partner that do that give and take and let you have your time for self-care, take care of the kids, and then he gets his time.
Yep.
That's what makes it work.
Oh, absolutely. Have to.
Yeah, because we need that. And it's definitely okay to put your self-care first before the kids.
It absolutely is. I That is a non-negotiable for me. Hey, I gotta go for a run, or mommy needs to go to get a massage, or we just need to call the babysitter this Friday because we just need to go
Yeah.
out with each other and leave these kids at home.
With
So
your husband.
yeah, so deciding, if it's self-care or if it's marital care or, we just need a date night, whatever that is, just making sure that we're intentional about that time. And then I also say, like, sometimes, this is what we're supposed to do. Sometimes I don't even have to call it self-care. No, this should be an automatic thing of
Exactly.
making sure that I put myself first. That way I can show up to be a wife and a mom and a business owner and all the things. So it's perfectly okay, yeah, to do all those things and put yourself first. That way you can take care of others.
Exactly. That's very important. And just, as we pace ourselves through races, we always talk about life is a marathon, not a sprint. You
Look,
got to pace yourself in order to get to that finish, or else you're not going to be able to finish if you start out too fast. And
yep.
that's a lesson from running in terms of any lesson in life, to pace yourself, breathing deeply, because a lot of times we get stressed out about certain things. It had nothing to do with running, but we get stressed out, we have trouble breathing. But there's so many different lessons that we can learn from running and apply to the challenges and just squeeze out that resilience that we need for life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I have a amazing massage therapist, and she always reminds me, Jay Ell, she was like, we are movers. So you have to give your body time to rest, time to breathe, time to just slow down, because we're always moving. Even if it's not physically moving, our minds are always going. So
Mhm.
have to give yourself time to rest in whatever capacity that looks like. And so I remind myself about that all the time. Like, it's okay to not do something if it requires more of me. Um,
Mhm.
okay to push it off to tomorrow or what have you.
Mhm.
But allowing yourself that time for rest is just so crucial.
That's really important. Thank you so much. So you're on Journey to Joy Live. So tell us a little bit before we end about your journey to joy.
Oh, wow. I make sure that I just my journey to joy is just absolutely is my family, my children, making sure that I feel good in my own skin, that I'm showing up for myself, but then also knowing that the work that I'm doing within Black Girls Run, I have been called to this purpose. So not taking that for granted either. And I think I just find so much joy within the community that I serve within Black Girls Run. But then also knowing that I'm on this journey with others as well. And just knowing the difference between just being happy or just showing up and absolutely having that sense of joy. Joy is definitely much more of a stronger emotion, but then
Mm.
also just a stronger just sense of being as well. And I think
Oh.
that's the part that you have to realize, like, hey, joy comes and it ebbs and flows, but as long as you are still always pushing towards living a joyful life, being positive, being kind, all of those things, that your existence and your purpose will definitely be meaningful.
Ooh, that's fantastic. That's perfect. 'Cause that's all what I talk about. It's not just an emotion, it's a choice and it's a
Absolutely.
journey. Yes. Well, thank you for taking on Black Girls Run and making it what it is. It's definitely my life. Running is my joy. Running is how I met my husband. I don't know if I'd be married if I didn't run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a great journey. And I appreciate you for coming on Journey to Joy Live.
For having me, and I look forward to connecting with you soon in person or on the pavement.
Yes. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I accept Aetna for Georgia residents, and out-of-pocket services are available for others. I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, Virginia, and Minnesota. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoyno on Amazon for $39.08 to help you on your wellness journey. And remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, may you continue to transform challenges into joy.